I promise I had something juicy today. That stuff's kind of juicy, but what was really juicy, and what I alluded to earlier on, is that, are we getting Starfield this year? This is a question that's been popping up more and more commonly here. A few weeks ago, I said that I find it likely that we are going to get Starfield out this year because of the way that they have been doing certain things with certain copyrights and trademarks. And the way that they've been doing it is a signal flag that this is content that is coming out this year. And now I've given you my opinion on that before, which is that I'm not convinced 100% that it's the game release, but I'm not convinced that it's not. It's like 50-50 right now. Is it stuff that they're preempting to drop? Say they want to drop it early next year, in March, sometime next year. They would need to start advertising for it pretty early on, especially because it's a new IP. Nobody knows about it. They may have some secondary, like, story content, movies, comics, anime. I mean, literally anything's on the table. They won't have a 2-week announcement to release date. They could. Again, Todd Howard is a fan of that, so again, that could be possible, but I find it highly unlikely. So does that mean that it's coming out this year? Well, up until today, or actually yesterday, I was pretty sure that it was still kind of up in the air. I am now more certain than ever, about 75% now, that the game is actually dropping this year. Again, not a promise, but why do I think this? Because now, today, I've been able to, yesterday again, I was able to confirm that what I've been hearing from advertisers, especially advertisers that are typically active in the game industry around E3, are getting big buyouts for advertising space for Starfield. And again, this was a rumor I've heard for the past few weeks, and recently there was a podcast and some other stuff going on where more people have started to signal boost this as true. So it's kind of like checking sources. In this case, I can't check all of the sources I want to, but I'm starting to hear it from other people. It appears more likely that we are going to get, at the very least, a huge announcement and world showcase of Starfield this year. This is for sure. Secondly, are we going to get the release this year? Becoming far more likely. Microsoft needs a win. They need a big title to put out with their new console this year. If they were shopping around before 2 years ago, when they were looking for release games and they were making all their plans, and they shopped around and they stopped over at Bethesda and said, "Hey, where are you guys at?" And Bethesda was like, "Well, we just had this disastrous launch of 76, and it was absolutely horrendous. We're working on this Starfield game. It'll probably be ready in 2022. They probably said, "Great, we're interested in buying." And then that started the talks that led to them buying them out. But if they had this thing prepped to go out in 2020 as a launch title, but got delayed because of, Corona, if that all happened at the same time, they're now should be ready to launch the game. And that's what we've been hearing from other sources, is that this is the most polished game that Bethesda has ever had pre-release. And that's good. I mean, it's about dang time that they invested in this, but yes, this is good news, right?
Which still means it could be buggy as hell, but yeah.
Oh yeah, it still could be completely still could not be able to complete the game easily, handily, as far as release goes. Bethesda's, they might have learned a lot of lessons, but they're still the same dog. So
yeah. Well, that's very interesting though. I'm glad you. So
there's one or two more quick things to cover. So there's
sure.
So Bethesda accidentally put out some artwork for Starfield. And this has been confirmed now that this is them. It went out on a secondary server that they bought, and that another company runs for them. That it's a very common thing. It's I'm not going to get into the weeds of it because it's basically just other YouTubers have covered it. Basically, it's 20 minutes to explain that yes, Bethesda actually does use and own this server, and they use this and own this server to host certain image files and other files and stuff like that. And this did go public on a public spot that was not supposed to be in a public spot and got taken down pretty quickly. I didn't want to. We're not going to show that picture because this is basically the exact same situation that we were that a lot of other YouTubers were in back a few years ago when the whole Borderlands 3 bull fiasco happened, and that's that they accidentally found stuff that they weren't supposed to find. They ended up running with it, and that gave them a license to come after their channels and to hit them with 280 strikes. Yeah. So we don't want to do that until Bethesda is willing to talk about this stuff. We're not going to be showcasing stuff that they've accidentally leaked out, whether it's them or not. And it's also not actually that much to see. It's basically confirms that some of the other artwork that we've seen that's come out on leaks before is also true. We now know that for sure. There was some correlating images and stuff like that they've been able to match up with this new thing. Again, it's not much. It's basically just hand sketches of stuff. So it's a very preliminary, like early stuff. And again, it may not be indicative of what is currently in the game. But people are hungry for this and they're jumping on it, which is a good sign. It means that Bethesda is potentially learned their lesson and is hopefully working on a great thing. Again, potentially. Cross our fingers and pray that Todd Howard, has managed to wrangle things in and is not, become the next Sith Lord. Let's just hope so. Fingers crossed. Oh my. Please, 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 please.